fly. So if you haven't yet made the jump from 35mm over to medium format, you guys might be wondering what all the fuss is about, why people shoot medium format, what do they get out of it, what's the benefits of shooting medium format. Oh, I've dropped the whole Buddha. And what sort of cameras should you get? There's so many out there and it can be confusing. When I first started looking at medium format, I was confused. I can even remember getting confused with the 120 roll, thinking, how on earth am I going to load this into my developing tank? There's that fly again. Why do flies want to come around when you do it? They're just, a fly's got a purpose in life other than eating dog all day. And if you're looking to get into medium format, take your time, don't rush into it. Just have a little look around for cameras that are going to be suitable for you and also suitable for your budget as well. And if you're already into medium format, stick around because I'm going to show you what I think are the best medium format cameras out there on the market to snap up. Depending on your budget. So let's look at the camera that I'm shooting for this bench. It's the Fuji GSW690III camera. It's a quite unique and quirky camera that has gained a cult following for its simplicity, image quality and also its distinctive look. It has a fixed 90mm f3.5 lens and the shutter speeds are from 1 second to 1/500th of a second, and there's also a time mode as well for long exposures. And it's quite a big camera as well. It's got no mirror flapping about inside, so it's ideal for handheld photography. It's got a leaf shutter, so you can shoot 1/30th, even 1/15th of a second handheld and still get a nice steady shot. But it's not exactly inconspicuous. It's not the sort of camera that you'd want to, you know, if you want to go out and do street photography, it's not inconspicuous. It's one that I don't think I would take out for street. Plus you only get 8 shots inside the camera, which you're not really going to get much film for your money. But saying that, it's ideal for portraits and it's also ideal for landscapes and small group shots as well. And as for the price, you can find these online, depending on condition. You can pick these up for anything between £500–600 up to £1,000 and maybe a smidge over that. And if you want to know more about the Fuji GSW690III, I'll stick a link in the description where you can see my video featuring that camera. So today I've come up here to take a photograph of this bench, and the reason I'm here is because a friend of mine saw this scene in one of my previous videos, and although I took a photograph of it on 35mm film, I didn't particularly like it. The light wasn't very good, so I've come back to get the photograph and make him a print. But why have I chose medium format over 35mm? So why do people shoot medium format? I don't know what their excuses are, but for me personally, I shoot medium format because I want to get better quality negatives in the darkroom when I go and make prints, especially enlargements. So if I've got an idea or a planned shoot that I want to do, it might be a still life, it might be a portrait, it may be a seascape or a landscape or whatever, and I'm intending to get in the darkroom and make an enlargement, I'll shoot it on medium format because I'll be able to get much more information on a larger negative than I would a 35mm negative, which means I'll get better quality on the print in the darkroom. You don't really see much difference when you're printing from 35mm or a 645 neg in the darkroom on a 10x8 paper. It's when you start enlarging, 35mm can start breaking up, whereas medium format won't because it's been recorded on a larger surface. And another reason is like today with shooting that bench, I only need a few shots of that bench. So if I was to go and shoot 35mm up there doing that, I'd have at least say 24 frames inside the camera. I don't want to shoot that many, so my only option is to take photographs of the bench, get what I need, and then shoot the rest around just for sake of getting back and developing it quickly, or save the film inside the camera until I finish the whole roll and another day, or I can cut the film out of the camera altogether. So for me personally, if I only want a few shots of a certain subject, then I'll take a medium format camera where I've got less shots and I can get back and start developing. First shot done. So that's my first shot done. I'm now going to come to the side of the bench for the second shot. Let's see if we can get something going on here. Try and get the bench nice and close. I think rather than go wide on this, I think it would be nice if we get the bench in the frame, nice and prominent up at the front, and let the background lead off. We've got a little tiny fence and a gate. Simple photography. I'll move on to the next bench. Now, I don't care what anyone says, this camera, the Zeiss Ikon Netto, this camera is the nuts. I have used this for many years and it was the first medium format camera that I ever bought to dip my toes into the world of medium format. It's from the late 1940s, I think, early 50s, and it shoots 6x6 negatives, square negative. And before I ever bought this camera, I never experienced any sort of square photography before. And as soon as I started taking pictures with this and seeing the square format, I instantly loved it. I loved it for portraits, for landscapes, for street photography. I just enjoyed the square format. So it was giving me much bigger negatives than my 35mm 6x6. I thought at the time, wow, these are absolutely nuts. So this is the Zeiss Ikon Netto. It's a no thrills camera whatsoever. It's a bellows folding camera, you can see. And the lens on it, I always butcher these names, a Nova and a Stigmat lens. It's a 75mm lens and it's as sharp as you like. It's got a Vario shutter with speeds of only bulb mode, 1/25th of a second, 1/75th of a second and 1/200th of a second. So it's pretty limited with the shutter speeds, but it's more than enough for anyone shooting photography in decent light. And the best thing about these cameras is you can pick them up really cheap as well. I think I paid about 30 or 40 or 50 quid for this now, I can't remember. But if you go online, you can find these cameras for 20, 30, 40 quid. As long as they're in great condition, they'll just give you great photographs and get you into medium format without spending a lot of money, just to see if you like it or not. And here it is, the bench. This time I'm in front of the barbed wire. And that's a photograph I took a few months ago. To get all that in the shot, I'm going to have to get right back here into this crap. That's the sort of angle I'm going to get this time on the bench. So I've got it nice close coming in towards the lens, nice big in the foreground, falling out into the background there. That's what I'm after. Coming from 35mm to medium format, you're going to notice a difference straight away. Especially if you're going to be shooting a 6x7 or 6x9 negatives, which are huge, there's going to be much more information, much more resolution on the film surface for you to scan or print. And like I said earlier on, medium format just holds up much better when you want to make enlargement prints. But on the flip side of things, medium format cameras are big and bulky as well, and the film is going to cost you more money. Maybe the 120 and the 35 are pretty much the same sort of price, but you're going to get less shots with medium format, which gets me around to asking you guys to get involved with this video. Do you shoot medium format? Let me know in the comments, and also others that are thinking about getting into medium format, let them have a little read as well. Want to know why you shoot medium format, what do you shoot medium format on, and what camera have you got? So if you're thinking about getting into medium format photography, jump into the comments section, have a little look at what other people are doing and what they're saying. You know, this is a film community at the end of the day, and I think that everybody's opinions matter no matter what it is. Which brings me on to my next camera, which I think is absolutely awesome, the Mamiya 645. This was a camera that was lent to me when I first wanted to get into medium format before I bought the Zeiss Ikon. My mate Fraser lent me the camera, God rest his soul, and he said, Rog, have a go at this, I think you'll like it. So he let me borrow his Mamiya 645. He was a fashion photographer, and this camera was just sitting there in his bag. He hadn't used it for donkey's years. And after shooting this camera after a few weeks, I was instantly hooked with medium format. Now the Mamiya 645 is an absolutely fantastic camera. It's a modular camera, which means you can change the backs, you can change the lenses, you can change the focusing screen, you can change the viewfinders, and literally set the whole camera up for your own style of shooting. But the downside with the Mamiya 645 is, although you can change backs, you can't change the format. So that means you can't have a 6x6 back and a 645 back for a Mamiya 645. It only shoots 645. But because it's got interchangeable backs, you can put 2 or 3 backs in your bag with different films in. So if you're out shooting street photography and you've got a 100 speed film on the back of the camera and all of a sudden you find yourself in a dark church, you can switch the backs over to your 3200 film and carry on shooting. So it's quite handy to have interchangeable backs. But the camera is absolutely fantastic, built like a brick, solid as you like, proper quality, and the lens options are plentiful as well with the Mamiya Ikon lenses. And if you go online and search for a Mamiya 645, you'll find the earlier models from the 1970s through to the 80s, which was the original 645. You can pick those up for about £500 with a lens as well and a back. And then you've got the later models, which was the Pro version, the one I was using. They ain't bad either. You can pick those up between £600, £700, £800 as well with a lens. So the Mamiya 645 is, okay, it is expensive, but looking at medium format cameras and the quality and what else is out there today, it ain't a bad price at all. Which brings me next on to my fourth camera, oh my God, the Hassleblad 500 series. Huh? Now that's a sought after camera, but it's bloody expensive as well. And I think if you ask many photographers what their dream medium format camera would be, a lot of them would say the Hassleblad 500C. I was lucky to have use of my mate's 501C, I think it was, when I was abroad, and what a fantastic camera. But like the Mamiya 645, the Hassleblad 500 series is a modular system. So again, you can change the backs, you can change the lenses, you can change the focus screens and the viewfinders as well. And with the Hassleblad, you can also get 6x6 and 645 backs. So you can change formats as well, which is fantastic. It's a little step up from the Mamiya 645 where you can't do that. And there's plenty of fantastic Carl Zeiss lenses out there for the Hassleblad as well. And this camera can cost you anything upwards of £1,000. It's really expensive camera system to get into. So let's get off over to the next location, which is obviously the final location, where there's a boathouse, an old derelict boathouse that I want to try and get photographs of. The last time I was there, I was on 35mm again. So this time, let's see what a 6x9 can do. It's the next day, can you believe it? That's why the sky ain't blue and it ain't so bright. I come down here yesterday, and you guys know me, I get lost all the time. And I've been here before, I couldn't find it. I was going up and down and up and down and up and down. The maps on Google were hilarious. So I've come back the next day asking my mate where it was. I found it, finally. There it is there. It's actually better as well because yesterday was so bright. It was so hot as well. But this is one of the beauties of shooting medium format. I know that I've only got 8 shots in this camera. I've done 4 yesterday on the benches and I've got 4 left to shoot on this. If I had 35mm, I'd probably get a whole load of different angles, but this one's going to make me think more about my compositions, what I want. Do I want the reeves in? Do I want reflections? Where do I want to be in position? So I'm going to have a little walk around and find the best location or best positions I can get for a composition on this old boathouse with this 6x9 camera. The hardest thing about vlogging and showing you guys what I'm doing, is I've always got this video camera to take with me as well. It's not as easy as just plotting up and taking a picture. I want to show you guys where I am. I can't really show you these reeds here, so that's where I'm going to go. Just down there where it's shallow, and you can see I can get right across the water, beautiful reflections, and I've also got some reefs coming out of the water as well. So that's where I'm going to plop myself up and get my first shot. If it's not too muddy. Oh, it's really muddy. Damn. Oh, shit. Okay, this might be tricky, but there you go. Look at that. That looks quite nice. I'm not usually running for these sort of mirror image reflections. I think they're, you know, 2 a penny, but I've come here, so I've got to take it. Oh, I've just cut myself. If I can get down low. Okay, I'll be quick with this. It looks heavy, this camera. It looks big and heavy, but it's not. It's actually nowhere near as heavy as my Mamiya RZ67. Right, I've got a nice composition here. I wish I could get lower on my knees, but like on the water's edge. I'm really squeezing in. Done. And this is another camera system I love, the Bronica ETRS. You can see one in the background there. It's absolutely fantastic. And I would liken it to the Hassleblad. I'll say, if you like, it could be the poor man's Hassleblad. They're not as expensive as Hassleblad, but again, it's a modular system where you can change the backs, you can change the focusing screens, the lenses, the viewfinders, even the grips as well. And they don't cost nowhere near as much as the Hassleblad. I think you can pick up a Bronica ETRS or a Bronica ETRI, I think it was called, for about £500. Okay, still not cheap, but nowadays cameras aren't cheap. These old cameras, they are going up in price all the time. But you can you can pick these Bronicas up for relatively much more inexpensive than a Hassleblad, and they are really good cameras. Same system, 6x6 and a 645 as well, and they had fantastic lenses as well with the Zenza Bronica lenses. There's quite a few of them out there. They're absolutely brilliant and nice and sharp, contrasty as well. It's mad to think it's so derelict. It's a great photography point. My mate introduced this to me a few months back. I'll show you a little bit more of it. So I've only taken one shot. I need to get another 3 compositions, but you know, I don't want to waste the film. I want to make the compositions work for myself. That might be nice down there with the reefs. Ah, here we go. So we'll take another angle from here. First of all, got to figure out composition. Okay, see, I'm nice low down on the water. Now I'm low, I'm not seeing any cars, which is great. It's not the perfect shot, there's a tree sticking out of it. But you never know until you get back. Done. The TLR cameras, there's quite a few of these around. This one is the Yashica Mat 124G. It's a TLR or twins lens reflex camera. You can see it's got 2 lenses. These are the sort of cameras you take out on street photography and you start taking photographs, and people looking thinking, I've seen those cameras before, why has it got 2 lenses? People might even ask you, people may even had one of these cameras in the day and go, wow, I haven't seen one of those for a long while. It can be a bit of a showstopper when you're out taking photographs, whether you like it or not. I actually like talking to people in the street about film, so I don't mind. But these cameras are absolutely brilliant. Now, this is the Yashica. You've also got the Rolleiflex f2.8, which costs an absolute fortune, and you've also got the Rollei f3.5, I think it is, and a few other ones as well. The Rolleiflex, the Rollei Core, I think there's another one called, and you've also got the Mamiya C330 as well. The only thing with this one is you can't change the lenses. So with the Mamiya C330 and the Rolleiflexes, you can change the lens systems over. With this, it's fixed. This one is a Yashinon 80mm f3.5 lens, and it's a waist level viewfinder as well, so it hangs down here and you look down, so you get some interesting angles. And when you look through there, the image coming back at you is coming from this lens, and when you press the fire button, the exposure is done with this lens. So there's not much parallax problems going on with this camera at all. You soon get used to it, but they are really, really good and fun to shoot. They do have their problems, especially this one. It gets a little bit sticky shutter sometimes, but again, you know, this one needs to go off and be CLA'd and looked after, so it's just a case of looking after your cameras. But these TLR cameras are absolutely fantastic. This one you can pick up for around less, £300, £400, £500, maybe less if you look for one that's not in great condition. The most expensive ones are going to be the Rolleiflexes, where they're more sort of collector's items as well, I think. But the Rolleiflex, I've never used one. I've never had one in my hands, but I know they can fetch up anything between £1,500 and go up to £3,000 or £4,000, depending on the condition of it. So they're pretty expensive. And the Mamiya C330 with the interchangeable lenses, they're about the same price as the Yashica. Now that's another composition there. I took that on 35mm a few months back, and I didn't like it. It just looked too messy. It wasn't nice at all, so I'm not going to waste a shot on that composition there. So instead, what I'm thinking is getting myself right low down there and pointing up that way. I'll show you the angle. So I'm kind of thinking of coming behind these reefs, you see, and just getting the edge of the building like so. But obviously those reefs will be so close they'll be blurred out, not like the video camera. So that is the sort of composition I'm looking at. So we just got these reefs adding a little bit to it. They should blur a little bit in the wind with the 60F. Done. And I've got one more left. 2 more left, so no, 1 more left, yeah. So let's get on with my next camera on the list. I'm probably going to get my head bit off in the comments over this one. This is the Pentacon SIX. I can see people now going, oh no, why is he showing the Pentacon SIX? You either love it or you hate it. I've had this camera for, I don't know, a good part of a year now. I've used it quite a lot and I absolutely love it. It works well. That's all I can ask, is that it works. The lenses are fantastic, but you do have to treat it like a baby. When I say that, you just treat it very nice and smoothly, like when you rotate the, you know, you've got to bring the film advance back nice and smoothly. Listen to that camera slap though. It's got a big old mirror flapping around, so it's not too great handheld at slower speeds, but it is also waist level as well, and you've got different attachments for the viewfinders. It's 6x6, you can't do nothing about that. It's only a 6x6 format, but there are some really nice lenses as well, Carl Zeiss lenses that go on this camera. It's a West German camera from the 1960s, I think this came out, and it was produced all the way up until the 1990s with a few, you know, upgrades since its first release. But these cameras aren't without their faults. The shutter mechanism can get a little bit sticky, like most older cameras, and also a little bit of overlapping can occur if you don't load the film properly. So this is a camera that I would definitely recommend to anyone getting into medium format, because they're not that expensive. Between £300 and £500 you can pick a really good one up for. And if you like the 6x6 format, don't forget it's a square format. Might not be for you, but this one is a really, really good camera and easy to use. It's not that heavy with this lens on at the moment. It's not really that heavy. I could walk around with this all day long, no problem at all. But there's just a few things you need to know before you start using this camera, or you may end up buggering it up or wasting film, which is which isn't that great either, because the cost of film ain't going down, is it? But again, I'll put a link in the description of my video on this camera if you want to research it. That's the best I can do, is sneak in here and get a shot looking straight on. Crikey. Right here. And get a shot straight on. I did this before on 35mm, so done. And last but not least, I have to get this one off. Oh, is this nutcase? The Mamiya RZ67. This is a medium format camera. Again, modular system, interchangeable backs. It takes 645, 6x7 and 6x6 as well. The 6x6 backs are pretty rare and they're quite expensive. It takes different viewfinders, different focusing screens, and obviously lenses as well. This was mainly a studio camera back in the day. It is quite a lump and it works on a bellows focusing system, a little bit like the is it the Mamiya? I can't remember, the Makina 7, sorry. A little bit like that. It works on a bellows system, so it's really good for still life, getting close up on things in a studio, and it's great for portraits, but it's also good for landscapes. I take this camera out with me quite often and take photographs with it outside. It's not a camera that I want to walk around with all day because it is bloody heavy. And the thing with these cameras, because of the focusing is on the bellows, you've got to account for a bit of a bellows extension as well, but you've got a little graph on the side which shows you the compensations. There was one that was before this, which was the RB67, another fantastic camera, relatively more inexpensive than this one. This one will set you back around £800 upwards depending on the condition. And the RB67, you can pick those up for about 500 quid. They're fantastic cameras as well. And you know, don't forget, it's just a body that you're buying. The quality of the photograph is going to come from the lens itself, not from the body of the camera. So don't sit there and say, oh, the RB67 produces excellent images. It doesn't. It's down to whatever lens you put on it that's going to you know, cut the mustard for you. And if you love your cameras and you don't mind spending a bit of money, have a look at the Makina 6.7. Quite a rare camera. I've never used one, but I've often seen these around online and they are quite expensive. Don't judge me on the quality of the lenses or cameras. I've never used one before. And a similar camera to that would be the Mamiya 7, another fantastic camera. Again, I've never used that camera, but have a little look at the Mamiya 7 as well. Quite an interesting bit of kit. And whilst on the subject of compositions, I've got an ebook out you might be interested in. The link is in the description of this video. And there's over 270 pages packed with various compositions, illustrations, photographs and ideas to help you with your own photography. So if you're interested in downloading that ebook and supporting the channel, the link is in the description. There's tons of information in there. let's get on with the video. And it wouldn't be the same if I didn't say to you guys, have a look at the Holga 120N as well. If you're looking to get into medium format photography, these things cost you 25 or 30 pounds. You know, you can't go much cheaper than that. They are cheap cameras, proper plastic, they leak light everywhere, but they can produce some really nice results. So if you ever think to yourself, I really fancy doing some medium format, but I can't afford to get these sort of cameras, or I don't know if I'm ever going to like it, grab yourself a Holga. It will give you 645 and 6x6 images. And the last camera I can suggest would be pinhole. If you want something completely different and try out medium format, have a look at pinhole photography, pinhole medium format cameras. I can recommend the LaRouge 6.6, which is a camera that I've got. Fantastic pinhole camera, produces 6x6 negs. Absolutely wide, not so sharp, but it's just an interesting format to shoot. And also the Renisa cameras as well. They do some fantastic pinhole cameras in medium format. But used cameras aren't getting any cheaper, are they? They just keep creeping up in price all the time when you go online and have a look. That's why I always think that these folding cameras are great bargains. Not many people know about them, and not many people find them desirable. But I'll tell you what, they actually do create really nice photographs. This one's a 6x9 Kodak. I've got another one over here, which is a classic old Mamiya 6. 6x6 format. So, you know, have a look around for these medium format folding cameras if your budgets aren't quite stretching to the bigger boys. I've just done this whole vlog with my collar up. And as for those 8 photographs I took with the Fuji camera, I didn't like the first 4 at all. It was just too bright. So Ian, if you're watching, mate, you're not going to get a print of that because I won't be printing that one. I'll go back and do another one for you when the clouds look a little bit nicer up there. And don't forget, there's plenty more medium format cameras out there. Hopefully some of you guys have put your lists in the comments for other people to read as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching. And I must say a massive thank you to all you guys that contribute towards the channel with subscribing and making comments and liking the videos and just general supporting the work that I do, especially the guys that buy me coffee, that are on Patreon, and also the YouTube members area as well, and the people that I talk to off the channel about film. I really do appreciate your interaction with this wonderful hobby that we've all fell in love with.
I'm in focus, Rog.
Strange, you've got to keep that button down.
Which one?